Anyway, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure you're all feeling inside, wow. So savor that moment, because it is a rare treat to be faced with perfection, a fully functional, emotionally flawless human being. As the Observer's reigning agony queen, I dispense my advice from halcyon moral heights, gazing down at the kind of emotional conscience wrestling that the rest of you mere mortals do with pity, quite honestly. Only this morning, as I said to my husband, no, I'm way too busy for sex, screamed at my children, threw my dog in the bath so I didn't have to take it for a pee, but found time to see how many tweet buddies I'd made overnight while I was sleeping. I thought, well done, Mariella, you've really got things sorted. Thankfully, it's one of the few career choices where past mistakes increase your qualifications. Plus, of course, there's nothing like a mailbag full of other people's problems to put your own in perspective. You know, when I'm worrying about where to go for half-term and I get a letter from a father of 4 who's about to lose all his kids because his ex-wife is moving to Australia, it sort of puts a different light on your priorities. You know, feeling murderous towards my best friend for being continually flaky, Natalie. A woman who's discovered that her best friend has been sleeping with her husband for 10 years kind of tends to obliterate such minor transgressions. And passion can, as we just heard, certainly be the enemy of common sense. There was the father of 2 who wrote to me from India complaining about his bullying wife and asking if I thought that his sister-in-law, who lived in the UK, might be a better option, and whether the avalanche of love letters he'd been sending her to no avail and no response could be seen as a come-on, which I think proves that signals are made to be misread. But what's most striking about the cacophony of human woe that I'm at the receiving end of, I think, is how timeless the contents are. We may think we're uber modern here in the 21st century, with technology allowing us to keep constant tabs on those around us and beyond. Yet the majority of letters that I get are about loneliness and an unfulfilled yearning to truly connect with fellow human beings, whether it's friends, family, lovers, long-term partners, whatever. Once you've said goodnight to your 200 Twitter followers, the world can become a rather silent and intimidating place. So much for the church of the chat room. It's no coincidence, as the social network revealed, that a geek lacking both compassion and communication skills in the real world should have been responsible for setting up the most famous portal for making friends online. With the World Wide Web, we can communicate instantly across the globe, but it also, and increasingly commonly, makes it possible for us to shrink further into our own skins. As Jeff said, we're social animals, but online our desire to be heard is often answered only by echoes of the one-dimensional communications we send out. If conversation is open to interpretation, you could write an entire thesis on the gaps between what you say and what you mean in cyberspeak. So I'd argue for sidestepping the web stampede, which might be controversial on a day like this, in a place like this. I mean, utilising its many advantages, but never in place of tangible human engagement. A cyber life should never overshadow a real one. The internet is not the messiah. It's just a very useful tool. As for tweeting and texting, no grievance I've ever come across has ever been smoothed over at the midnight hour with drink taken and a phone in your hand. A tweet in similar circumstances can be seen as a weapon of mass destruction. I'd say there should be a breathalyzer for any personal communications device. And I'm guilty of it too. I'm not that perfect. I can't leave you without addressing sex. It's clearly a wild, crazy world out there. The good news is that there's someone for everyone, judging by my mailbag, along with the endless letters, and I do mean endless letters, from partners complaining about not getting enough sex. And I do wish my husband would stop cluttering up my inbox on that score. There are a myriad of extraordinary variations on the sexual theme. The aspiring beekeeper who found that studying his prospective hobby was far more enticing than actual sex with his wife. Another reader who was so traumatized by his partner's profile because it reminded him of an aunt who used to tell him stories about a haystack monster that every time he saw her nose, he literally couldn't get it up. To close, a salutary warning on how our lives pivot on the smallest twists of fate, which is a theory that is proven to me almost every day of my life. It came from a 22-year-old normal heterosexual, as he described himself, who let his best friend dress him as a girl for a fancy dress party. His female persona proved so irresistible to King Kong. And far from being horrified by this pursuit from room to room by a 6-foot primate, he found himself strangely attracted and wrote to ask if he should have sex with the aging sugar daddy who'd revealed himself underneath the mask, but was worried. He said, "I don't want to wake up screaming in a luxury apartment, even if it is on Armani sheets." My response being, once you're checking the sheets, I think your mind's already made up. The wonderful early 20th century novel Miss Lonely Hearts by Nathaniel West posited a scenario where the male author of a newspaper agony column finds himself so demoralized by the constant exposure to the miseries of mankind that his own life begins to unravel. Well, unlike Miss Lonely Hearts, my postbag seems to have the opposite impact. I'm constantly struck by our capacity for love and forgiveness, our poignant need to engage and communicate with each other, and actually just how generally decent and well-meaning the majority of human beings are. Not that such characters get much airtime in our trauma-addicted world. Quite honestly, if we do manage to destroy the planet with our devil-may-care attitude to natural resources, I'd suggest we leave as a dossier in our defense the collected letters to agony aunts and uncles across the globe and down the generations. It would certainly prove that we aren't all bad. Thank you very much. Thank you.